Welcome to strAInge, the podcast where we explore the shadows of the unknown, the crevices where reality and the bizarre intertwine. I'm your host, AI, and tonight, we're diving into the eerie world of the Mothman. Buckle up, because this is one tale that will leave you questioning what might be lurking just beyond the edge of the light. Our journey begins in the quiet town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. It was November 12, 1966, a crisp, clear evening when 5 grave diggers were working late in a cemetery near Clendenin, just outside Point Pleasant. As they went about their work, something strange caught their eye. High above them, gliding through the trees, was a large figure. They described it as a man with wings, not unlike a large bird, but something about it was distinctly unnatural. One of the men, Newell Partridge, later recalled, it didn't flap its wings like a bird. It glided more like a machine, silently, purposefully. This was the first recorded sighting of what would soon become known as the Mothman. Just 3 days later, on November 15, 1966, the Mothman would make its most infamous appearance. 2 young couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Millett, were driving late at night near the old West Virginia Ordnance Works, a World War II-era TNT factory on the outskirts of Point Pleasant. The area was abandoned, overgrown with weeds, and riddled with decaying buildings, a perfect setting for something out of the ordinary. As they rounded a bend, their headlights illuminated something standing in the middle of the road. It was nearly 7 feet tall, with broad shoulders and wings folded behind its back. But it wasn't the creature's size that terrified them, it was the eyes. 2 large, glowing red eyes that seemed to stare directly into their souls. Linda Scarberry later described the eyes as like bicycle reflectors, but brighter, and they almost seemed to be hypnotic. The creature didn't stay on the ground for long. As the couples watched in horror, it spread its wings that spanned 10 feet or more, and took to the air, chasing their car as they sped away. They later estimated that it followed them for several miles, reaching speeds of over 100 miles per hour. Steve Millett recalled, "It was right behind us, gliding, just above the car. I couldn't see it flap its wings, it just kept up with us no matter how fast we went." The terror they felt that night would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Word of the encounter spread quickly, and soon, others came forward with their own sightings. A group of volunteer firemen claimed they saw a large bird with red eyes, while a contractor named Newell Partridge described how his television suddenly began emitting strange noises, followed by his German shepherd running into the woods and never returning. Partridge later found strange, circular footprints near his home, unlike anything he had ever seen before. As the Mothman sightings continued, the atmosphere in Point Pleasant grew increasingly tense. There was a sense that something terrible was about to happen, a feeling that only intensified as the days went by. This mounting dread reached its peak on December 15, 1967, just over a year after the first sightings. The Silver Bridge, a suspension bridge that connected Point Pleasant to Gallipolis, Ohio, was filled with holiday shoppers and commuters returning home during rush hour. Without warning, the bridge began to shake, and in an instant, it collapsed into the icy waters of the Ohio River below. 46 people lost their lives in the disaster, making it one of the worst bridge collapses in American history. In the aftermath, some began to wonder if the Mothman sightings had been a warning, a harbinger of the disaster that was to come. Mary Hyre, a reporter for the local newspaper, The Messenger, who had been covering the Mothman sightings extensively, later said, "There was this feeling in the air, like something was wrong, something beyond just the bridge. It's as if the Mothman was a grim reaper, showing up where death was near." After the collapse of the Silver Bridge, the Mothman sightings in Point Pleasant nearly ceased. Some believe the creature left once its dark prophecy was fulfilled, while others think it was drawn to the area by the impending disaster. Whatever the truth may be, the legend of the Mothman was born that day, a legend that would endure and evolve over the decades. For years, the Mothman was largely associated with Point Pleasant. But then, in the 2010s, something strange began to happen nearly 500 miles away in Chicago, a city far removed from the quiet, wooded hills of West Virginia. The first sighting occurred on April 7, 2017, when a man walking his dog in Oz Park reported seeing a large, bat-like creature with glowing red eyes. He described it as being around 6 to 7 feet tall, with a wingspan of at least 10 feet. It swooped down from the trees, causing the man to flee in terror. But what he didn't know at the time was that his encounter was just the beginning. In the months that followed, sightings of a similar winged creature began to pour in from across Chicago. Witnesses from different neighborhoods, Logan Square, Humboldt Park, the South Loop, reported seeing a large, humanoid figure with wings, sometimes perched on rooftops, other times flying overhead. The descriptions varied slightly, but one detail remained consistent: the glowing red eyes. In one particularly chilling account, a group of construction workers near O'Hare International Airport reported seeing the creature late at night, perched on a beam high above the ground. As they watched in stunned silence, it suddenly took off, flying over their heads and disappearing into the darkness. One of the workers, who wished to remain anonymous, later said, "It was like nothing I've ever seen before. The way it moved, the way it watched us, it wasn't natural." In another incident, a woman named June S. was walking near the lakefront late one evening when she noticed something large moving through the sky. At first, she thought it was a bird, but as it got closer, she realized it was much larger, and it had those unmistakable red eyes. She recalled, "I felt this overwhelming sense of dread, like something was telling me to run. I've never felt that way before in my life, like I was in real danger." These sightings have led to a surge in speculation about what might be happening in Chicago. Is it the same Mothman that terrorized Point Pleasant, now relocated to a new urban environment? Or is it a different entity altogether, perhaps something drawn to the city by forces we can't comprehend? There are even those who believe that the Mothman's appearance in Chicago could be a precursor to another disaster. In Point Pleasant, the sightings culminated in the collapse of the Silver Bridge, so what could the Mothman be warning us about now? Theories range from economic collapse to environmental catastrophe, but as of yet, nothing conclusive has occurred. Despite the abundance of reports, there's still no definitive proof of the Mothman's existence. No clear photos, no video evidence, just the stories of those who claim to have seen something beyond explanation. But even without physical evidence, the fear is real. The people of Point Pleasant remember what happened after they saw the Mothman, and now, Chicagoans are left to wonder if they might be next. So, as you go about your night, remember to look up every once in a while. Who knows what might be watching from the shadows, waiting for its moment to be seen. Whether it's an omen of doom or just an urban legend, the Mothman, or Mothmen, are out there, maybe. And that brings us to the end of tonight's journey into the shadows. The Mothman may be a mystery we'll never fully understand, but that's what makes it so strange. I hope you've enjoyed this dive into the unknown as much as I have. But don't get too comfortable. Because next time on strAInge, we're exploring something even more unsettling. Imagine a being born purely from thought, a creature that starts as a figment of your imagination and then becomes real. What happens when our darkest fears take on a life of their own? Are they truly just in our heads, or can they step out into the world around us? Join me next week as we unravel the mystery of tulpas. Trust me, it's an episode you won't want to miss. Until then, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, the line between the imagined and the real is thinner than you might think. This has been strAInge, and I'm AI. Good night, and sleep tight. strAInge is written entirely by ChatGPT. Cover art is by Doll E. Theme song is by ChatGPT.